Hi guys, I'm Earth Guardian Dave, and welcome to Connecting with Earth Guardians. This is the show where we like to ask the question, how do you choose to protect life on Earth? Today, we're going to have a chat with someone who finds the beauty in life where others are usually too scared to look. Robert Whyte is so familiar with eight-legged Australians that he actually co-wrote the book, A Field Guide to Spiders of Australia. But Robert wasn't always a spider expert. Today he's going to share his story with us, and he'll also share a project that you can hopefully try out at home. So without further ado, let's get started with our chat with Robert. Welcome to Connecting with Earth Guardians.
Thank you very much.
How do you choose to protect life on Earth?
Well, I wasn't one of those kind of nerdy nature kids. I kind of veered more towards looking at art books, actually. And then towards the end of my working life, the nature background coalesced with the art and gave me an interest in looking at our local neighbourhood and finding out what was there and asking the local council if I could help do habitat restoration. I started also thinking, is this really working? And I wanted to monitor that. I chose spiders as an indicator of the health of an ecosystem. How could I do that? Because I didn't know the names of these things. And you can't do spiders like you can do birds. There's so many great bird experts who know everything, all the birds, and they've nearly seen the birds in Australia. In case of spiders, nobody knows the spiders. I kind of then realised that I'd have to come down from that top level and get a handle on taxonomy before I could even start to do experiments which told me whether or not what we were doing with habitat restoration was actually good for habitat. Our book took about 10 years to write, and the last 4 years were very intense. And it was a wonderful experience. I mean, I learned so much. I started out kind of having a layman's appreciation of spiders, and then ended up having, through the process and going on scientific expeditions, becoming a published scientist myself. I never expected that.
You may be drawn into a spider if you see something move quickly on the ground. A lot of people sort of try and get away, or they might even have a panic attack, that sort of thing. Is that actually a reasonable response?
Well, it's not a reasonable response for spiders, but it is a reasonable response in the sense that some things, and perhaps going back in our genetic history, that were venomous. The funnel web spider is definitely a seriously venomous spider, but there hasn't been a death since 1979. Nearly all spiders are harmless. Some can cause pain. The white-tailed spider, which is famous for, necrotic arachnidism.
It eats your flesh, they say.
Yeah, flesh-eating spiders, great big ulcerating wounds, horrible pictures on the internet. It's all complete rubbish. It is not dangerous at all. It could give you a bite, and it could be a little sore for a week or so. There really is a spider whose bite does cause flesh eating, and that's the recluse spider. But they're not interested in biting humans. I mean, what would be the point? Anything that's big, black and shiny is something not to be scared from or run away from or avoid looking at. Observe it carefully, don't run screaming until it finds its way to somewhere else, preferably outside. Maybe you could use a broom or something like that, but you certainly don't try and catch it.
I think you've got a bit of an idea that our viewers can try out at home.
Well, now that we're stuck at home, there is a great opportunity to do this little thing that I dreamed up a couple of years ago of a sort of a square metre challenge. I think it's fascinating to think that you could go into your garden and put 4 posts and a bit of string, each a metre long, around part of the garden and then see what you could find. You could be amazed, especially if you need to weed that part of the garden. Well, you could do a bit of work along the way, because if you weeded, then you'd get some little soil organisms as well. You could tap out the top of the head of the weed, which might be flowering, into a tray, and you might find little chiggers and running things, and then you might have a camera and take a photograph of everything that you could, or you might just sketch them, or you might know what they're called broadly, and then say, well, that was a spider. You could say, even if you don't know anything more than that, so because it had 8 legs, right? And the techniques that you would be using would be to tap the foliage into a tray. See, if flowers usually are abundant with insects and spiders. Insects because they're pollinating, and spiders because they're preying on the insects. And you might see that you've actually got, garden pests like aphids, and then you might see that you've got ladybird beetles, which are eating the pest aphids. It's just a wonderland. And I was wondering if just 1 square metre, if people took photos along the way, what a story. What a fantastic story is if you can look from the macro first and then zoom in and in and in, find out what's in the soil, find out what's in the flowers, find out what's in the seed heads.
For those who may not have a backyard, or depending on current social distancing restrictions, it might not be as easy for them to get out into a park, you could probably do something similar just around your house, maybe find some of these spiders that enjoy living with humans, like you mentioned.
It's amazing that Oecobius navis, which is a small spider that lives with humans, is really very poorly documented. People don't seem to even notice it. They're everywhere, though. They're not uncommon. And so that's a challenge. And then to get a great photo, I don't think there's one really superb photo in the world yet. What I do with the spiders inside my house is give them names, give them nice names like Nigel or Elspeth. And I know you're not supposed to anthropomorphize things, but I can't help it. It's a good thing for people to get over their fear.
Everything you do in the space of spider education, I guess, is fantastic, because it's finding the beauty and creating new knowledge and sharing that in a subject area where so many people don't want to go at first. They don't think they're going to find that beauty there, but it is there, and it's great to see people be illuminated by that, and so many people have been illuminated by you. So thanks, Robert. Thanks for your time today as well.
Thank you very much.
If you were inspired by anything in today's show, or you're keen to see other episodes, then be sure to connect with Earth Guardians by liking our earthguardians.life Facebook page. You can download and play the QuestaGame app, and stay up to date with QuestaGame news by liking QuestaGame on Facebook or Instagram. And remember, guys, we all have a responsibility to look after the environment upon which we all depend. We're all Earth Guardians. And until next time, how do you choose to protect life on Earth?